There. You're recording.
Can't really see you though.
Okay, everybody.
Alright, so we're on the third floor of O'Brien's Inn, and this room is actually where a lot of the paranormal occurrences are focused. This room, the O'Brien's Inn is currently 3 floors, but in the past it used to be 4 floors. Last weekend when we were here, Buffy, the owner, told us to talk to this guy. I guess his father used to own the inn, and he was the one who converted it from 4 floors into 3. And so I guess everything went fine until they put this recessed ceiling in up here. The ceiling was originally flat, and then up, and then there was the 4th floor. It must have been like an attic or a loft or something like that. They said after they pulled out the ceiling and put in this new ceiling, they started to hear a woman murmuring. He said it almost sounded like someone just mumbling to themselves. And at this point in time, they lived in the building as well. They didn't just own it, they lived there, and they lived in one of the apartments downstairs. And so I guess he was probably about 5 or 6 at the time, and he said he used to hear a woman mumbling in his room. He said it sounded like some woman just walking around talking to herself. They also had experience, I thought it was. They also had the experience of the channels would change on their own. And so he said he really became fascinated by the building after that. Once he started experiencing all these great things, he started asking his father, well, have you seen anything? Have you heard anything? And what happened was, his father said, well, I haven't seen anything, but you should go and talk to the other residents. And at that time, they had an Elvis impersonator, I believe, who lived in one of the apartments. And so he was up all night and slept all day. And he said that he heard a woman mumbling. He was out in the hallway. Like you'd hear someone like walking up and down the hallway talking to themselves. Then he also talked to the cleaning lady at the time. And she used to come in early in the mornings, but she was kind of slow. So it'd usually be like mid-morning by the time she was done cleaning. And so sometimes when she'd come in, she'd see an old man sitting at the bar, just sitting there, and then she'd look and he'd disappear. So that's those are some of the stories that someone has reported to us firsthand that they've experienced or, heard people experience firsthand. What we heard from the owner is the downstairs didn't used to be the way it was. Where the bar was, there was a staircase. And there's a stage there, and where the stage was, that used to be the front porch. So the front door, the original front door, was a lot further in than it is currently. And so they reported seeing a man walk in where that old door used to be, and then walk to the middle of the bar room, and then go up a flight of stairs that no longer exists. And they see this pretty regularly. So this guy walking in, walking up the stairs. They've also set the security camera. Who's trying to light at me?
Me?
Could you shed a little bit of me?
I've been good today.
But they've set the alarm, and then they go upstairs to do paperwork, and the alarm would turn on. And they go downstairs thinking there was someone there, and there'd be no one there. And then when they were trying to redo this room to get it ready to be lived in, they had a hard time keeping workers up here because they'd find their tools had been moved around. Things would disappear on them, and they'd reappear someplace else. And it would be like they turned their back, and something that had been next to them would all of a sudden be across the room. I guess this apartment used to be lived in by an old woman, and so they believe that her spirit is causing some of these activities.
In addition to that, the bartenders had a few interesting events where they were downstairs and they were closing up for the night. They had locked the doors, set the motion sensor alarm, and were busy counting in the back room. When all of a sudden the motion sensor got set off and they started out towards there, and they could see through the kitchen doors, you could see they're out into the lounge. And what they saw was a figure moving across out of their sight. So immediately they figured it was either a patron that got locked in or someone there to rob the place after hours. So she grabbed the kitchen knife from the countertop over there and figured if they're going to be threatening me, they're going get something. So she came out, she looked, and she saw the figure disappear towards the dining room. She proceeded down there into the dining room area, and it was just dead end. No place the figure could have gone. It just disappeared. She had that happen to her a couple times. 2 different bartenders did. And Buffy has had the experiences with the glasses clanging in the middle of the night. It sounds like a grand old party in the new addition, right where the dining hall is, the new party room. They've heard glasses clanging, everybody cheering, and they figure there's a party still going on in there, and she looks at her watch and goes, past time, this should be gone by now. She goes over there, unlocks the doors, noises stop.
And there's no one in there.
So in addition to those, we have the very creepy back room over there. You just walk past it on the way up.
I guess at one point in time, soldiers used to be bunked there, and so it's, I don't know if they really just sort of see shadows move and stuff like that in there.
So with that, we encourage you to take plenty of photos. You'll find some weird stuff going on in this room and in that back room there.
Some of it is virtue of the floors, but we'll let you figure those out for yourself. And then when you do go back downstairs, if you could just send up a couple more people
In your place.
Yeah.
Can I stop? How do I stop?